Ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if President Trump is done playing around, and now we are starting to finally see some of these radical progressives get hit with criminal charges. Now, as you've probably heard, around 2 weeks ago, Democratic Congressional Representative LaMonica McIver physically assaulted numerous federal ICE officers while trying to break into an ICE detention facility in New Jersey. Unfortunately for her, all of her violent, incompetent behavior was caught on camera, and so now the Department of Homeland Security has filed charges against Representative LaMonica McIver because, as many of you know, it's actually a federal crime to not only try to break into a federal detention center, but also to physically assault numerous federal officers. And so, you know what? Take a look at what none other than Border Czar Tom Homan had to say about all of this yesterday afternoon.
I'd say, look, the president doesn't bluff. I don't bluff. I said the day after inauguration, when they started attacking ICE and Border Patrol and supporting sanctuary cities, I said, you can hate on ICE. You can support sanctuary cities. You can turn a blind eye to ICE taking public safety threats off your streets. But you can't cross that line, Sean. I said that 1,000 times. You can't cross a line of impediment. You can't cross a line of knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien from ICE. You can't commit criminal trespass. And you certainly can't put hands on an ICE officer or you will be prosecuted. I said it 1,000 times. I meant it. President Trump means it. We already got 2 judges being prosecuted. Now we got this councilwoman being prosecuted. It's the right thing to do because they broke the law. They're not above the law either. They say President Trump wasn't above the law. Either are they.
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, we are finally starting to see some of these radical progressives get hit with criminal charges. In fact, as things currently stand, Representative LaMonica McIver faces not 1 but 2 counts of assault for pushing, grabbing, and impeding ICE officers during their chaotic confrontation outside of the New Jersey ICE detention facility. And now, folks, we have a lot more to talk about here, but before we do, I want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out. The craziest thing about this entire situation is that body cam footage from multiple different angles clearly shows Representative McIver elbowing, body slamming, and verbally abusing federal agents, serving as undeniable evidence of her criminal behavior. So folks, pretty much, she's screwed. But of course, despite the very clear evidence we have of Representative McIver's insane behavior, the radically progressive left-wing media is doing every single thing they can to protect her. And why? Because once again, the radical progressives don't care about law and order. No, the only thing they care about is maintaining power. And hey, if you don't believe me, take a look at this.
And I want to ask you about the word that you've very carefully used, which is unprofessional. Even if you believe she was unprofessional, did you see something in that tape that suggested she was criminal? Is there a tape that we haven't seen? Because the charging documents suggest that she somehow assaulted 2 of the ICE agents there. I did not see that in that tape.
Well, I've seen tapes where she has made body contact with ICE officers and pushing them. I mean, there's a lot of tapes out there. I mean, there's numerous tapes.
In a scuffle, is it normal that people would make body contact, though, Mr. Holman?
Bottom line is you say she has a right to do oversight, but there's a right way to do it. Forcing yourself through officers to get in that facility is not the way to do it. We have many Congressmen visit our facilities. What she did was unprofessional.
Do you believe that she was a threat?
I believe she caused the facility to be unsafe. When ICE officers are being pulled off their duties to deal with a member of Congress who's forced away in the facility and puts her hands on an ICE officer is unprofessional. I think she crossed the line. Again, I'm not the prosecutor. I don't have to prove it in court, but the video I saw shows her at fault.
But you acknowledge she did go into the facility. So why would she be let in if she was a danger?
Look, I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what I've learned through my sources and from the videotapes I saw that she forced her way in the facility. There's a difference between oversight responsibility, working, arranging with ICE to go do a safe and secure tour of a facility where criminals are locked up, criminals are walking the hallways, and forcing your way in the facility. It should have been done more professionally, and I'll let the courts decide if she's in violation of law. But the videos I saw, She could have been a hell of a lot more professional on that day.
And you believe the ICE agents were professional?
I believe so, yes.
Folks, did you catch that bit at the end? Instead of acknowledging that Representative McIver behaved like an unhinged, low IQ lunatic, that MSNBC host is actually trying to blame the ICE agents. This is one of the most shameless, propagandistic spins I've ever seen in my entire life, to be honest. Honestly, kudos to Tom Homan for being able to put up with her idiocy, because personally, I don't think I could do it. Really, though, this is just status quo behavior for the progressive left. Rules for thee, but not for me. They have a never-ending number of excuses and obfuscations for the insane behavior of anyone on their side of the aisle, but the second they think anyone on the right side of the aisle has made a mistake, they pretty much immediately call for a public execution. But now, folks, I do have to say, it is absolutely imperative that the Trump administration takes this situation seriously and actually pushes to have this insane woman, Congressional Representative LaMonica McIver, placed inside of a prison cell. And the reason why is because beyond just assaulting a bunch of federal officers, whatever, big deal, this is what she was saying just 3 months ago. Take a look.
We will fight back. Fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and God damn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war.
I'm telling you, folks, this woman, a Democratic congressional representative, by the way, is not only obviously insane, she's also very clearly a walking national security threat. It's insane to consider that we have not just one person like this in Congress, but actually numerous people like this in Congress. If our founding fathers could see just how incompetent our legislative body has become, they'd be rolling in their graves. So hey, once again, I personally hope that Representative LaMonica McIver gets hit with the full force of the law, because in my humble opinion, an example needs to be made out of all of these anti-American, radically progressive, far-left extremist Democratic politicians that are actively working to destroy our country. Because folks, that is what it's going to take to finally make America great again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I do want to say real quick that we officially have a Morse News Twitter page as well as a Morse News Facebook page. So if you use either of those platforms, please go down below and drop a follow in order to get breaking news updates that relate to everything we talk about here in the YouTube videos. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, and like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.